We begin this hour with heavy fighting along the border between Turkey and Syria. At this very hour, Turkey continues to press ahead with its military operation against Kurdish fighters in northeastern Syria, now in its 7th day. We are joined now by RT's Saya Tavenger following all the latest developments in the region. Saya, what can you tell us?
Well, Russia announced today its army is now patrolling the northern Syrian town of Manbij, serving as a security buffer between Turkish and Syrian forces. Now, this is clearly a sign that Moscow, a key ally of the Syrian government, is now filling a security gap left after U.S. troops began to withdraw from that area. Now, Russia's defense minister announced that military police in northwestern Manbij are patrolling along the line of contact between the Syrian Arab Republic and Turkey, and that the Russian military is also interacting with Turkey's government. Now, U.S. officials announced late Monday that U.S. troops had withdrawn from Manbij, and early this morning, Syrian state television showed troops entering the town in what appeared to be residents celebrating the arrival of Syrian forces in the center of Manbij. Now, all of this comes a day after the Syrian Kurds announced they had struck an agreement with the government of President Bashar al-Assad aimed at diminishing the Turkish offensive in the Kurdish-held territory in northern Syria.
Saya, there appears to be some sort of friction between Russia and Turkey. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, today the Kremlin's envoy for Syria called Turkish military offensive in northeast Syria unacceptable and denied Ankara's operation had been cleared by Moscow in advance. Now, something no one is really talking about is that areas currently being populated by Kurds, Arabs, and Sunnis would not take it too kindly to their lands being resettled by people who had never lived there, and that's exactly what Turkish President Erdogan is intending to do. Take a listen.
As of this morning, we have liberated approximately a 1,000 square kilometer area from the terrorist organization's occupation. God willing, in a short while, we'll secure the area from Manbij to our border with Iraq, and initially will provide the opportunity for 1 million, then 2 million Syrian refugees to return to their homes by their own choice.
Now, meantime, here in Washington, U.S. lawmakers are preparing bills to potentially ban U.S. arms exports to Turkey, and President Trump has ordered Vice President Mike Pence to head to the Middle East as the situation continues to unfold. Reporting in the newsroom, Saya Tavenger, RT.
All right, it's a very fluid situation there. So for more out of the latest from northern Syria, we're being joined now by journalist and Middle East analyst Arkin Oncan in Istanbul. Arkin, thank you so much for being with us. The Syrian Arab Army has announced earlier today it regained the region of Manbij following a deal with the SDF to counter Turkey. It also follows Russia's announcement that its military is now patrolling that area between both Turkish and Syrian troops. Do you see Syria's newly regained autonomy in that region affecting the Turkish offensive?
Yes, I think the latest development happened at Manbij. It seems that Syrian security forces and Russia openly prevented the operation of Turkey. With doing this, this happened after one day President Erdogan announced that they are going through Manbij. But after that, the Russian forces entered and the Syrian security forces entered the city, and the Manbij part of the Turkish military operation has prevented in this way.
I see. Okay, so just yesterday, U.S. President Donald Trump, he announced that he will be imposing sanctions against Turkish officials, raising tariffs on steel back to 50%, as well as putting a stop to a $100 billion trade bill. And then today, car maker Volkswagen paused its $1.8 billion investment in Turkey over the invasion of Syria. So do you think all of this will be effective on pressuring the Turkish government to pull back out of Syria?
No, I don't, because the anti-American discourse has been raised in Turkey since the coup attempt 2016. After that, President Erdogan and the AKP government started to criticize U.S. hardly. And Trump also announced some sanctions, but before that, Trump also implied some sanctions on Turkey, but it didn't affect on. I think only the Syrian forces and the Russian forces can prevent Turkey military offense.
From moving forward. Okay, so you don't think sanctions will help, or any kind of monetary problems like Volkswagen pulling out of this deal? You don't think any of that will prevent Erdogan from continuing?
No, it can, because Turkey's economy, based on dollars. So when Trump talks about the dollar, and he also can affect and impact on Turkish economy. But we can see here President Erdogan is trying to use the anti-America trend in Turkey. And he is trying to find some anti-American ideological basis. So if Trump pulls sanctions anyway, I think President Erdogan will try to intervene in Syria.
And now, Arkin, we know that key NATO members such as Germany, the UK, France, they have all warned Turkey against this intervention. Now the NATO alliance is looking to impose an arms embargo on the country. Let's listen to the German Chancellor, Angela Merkel, and see what Erdogan had to say in response to this.
We think that this offensive should be stopped regardless of the possible justified security concerns, because it results in much human suffering, obviously, and also much insecurity regarding the fight against the Islamic State.
We are a NATO ally. Please note that these countries are all NATO members. NATO has Article 5. We are at the moment under the pressure and harassment of a terrorist organization. Whose side should they be on according to Article 5? They should be on our side.
So you heard there, Erdogan has cited Article 5 of NATO, saying, one attack on one country is an attack on everybody.
Yes.
So if Turkey does not listen to these requests, do you think that will alienate Turkey from the rest of NATO?
I don't think so, because President Erdogan, I think, has got two different approachments to NATO. As we see all of the Erdogans and the other AKP official statements, we always see that Erdogan criticizes NATO, Erdogan criticizes US, but Erdogan still always reminds that he is an ally of that alignment. So I think Turkey will not exit from NATO, and I think Turkey will playing a balanced game to gain the support again.
Yes, it's a very delicate balancing game, so we have to watch how he plays this as the days continue.
Yes.
Erkin Oncan, thank you so much for being with us from Istanbul today.